Welcome to JackHorny.com show.
Well, folks. I wasn't going to post any more today, but suddenly you go on Twitter and find this group, this feminist anti-porn group led by a doctor, we're told, who gets interviewed by the BBC, and they've been on the BBC quite a bit. And what do they post? Publicly, they state quite clearly, porn is the factor in most rapes and murders. Now, they used to say it was rapes, and that's always been it's been proved false. But now they're actually even stating murder is called by porn. Well, folks, it's fascinating. So, let's think. So, all them people who've been stabbed in London and murdered on the streets, nothing to do with drugs or greed, it's due to porn. When there's been fights, when I was reading recently that there's some drug gangs going around killing each other. That's apparently due to porn, and not as we were led to believe, because it's fights over drug territory. My goodness. I mean, I'd be quite interested, and because obviously these people are experts, they can start telling us, they can give us evidence of all the murders that have been caused due to porn. Because that's quite serious. I mean, it's serious enough to drag poor women in and men who've been raped. Who we all know it's nothing to do with porn, but they want to use. I mean, it's how disgraceful. I mean, these women are so kind and caring that poor people have been raped, both men and women. It's apparently not the male who did it's fault. It's probably mostly males who rape, isn't it, folks? And I'm going to accept that. Apparently it's not their fault. It's all due to the porn they were watching, which is cobblers. I think people are responsible for their own actions, don't you, folks? How dare they accuse... I mean, I presume they don't want anyone to go on trial for porn or murder. Sorry, not for porn, for rape or murder, because it's not their fault, they're saying. It's due to the porn. That's what they're saying. Disgraceful. I mean, that's how disgusting these people are. These feminists who are so-called caring. They care so much that they're telling you now that it's not people's fault. They're not responsible for their actions. It's due to the porn. It's due to me making porn. It's due to everyone else making porn. It's due to, I presume, whatever you class as porn. Disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. I mean, what next? Will they be blaming World War I and World War II on porn? Will they be blaming, I don't know, world disasters on porn? I mean, it's utterly ridiculous. It is. Utterly ridiculous. Well, let's see the evidence. If they're so confident, and this is their claim, and like I say, they're being interviewed by the BBC. You know, the BBC are taking them seriously. They're putting this doctor on the BBC, and so they've got I mean, she's a doctor, and she's representing them. So I don't know if it's the doctor who's posting this, or whoever. But boy, oh boy, you can't make it up. I mean, I've said this before, that they come out this gun from people think I'm having him on. They say, oh no, you're exaggerating. Pow. Thank you. There's the evidence. I mean, it's not as if they've even said it by accident or something. They've posted it. Jesus Christ. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm a bit in shock, folks. It's a bit shocking when you read such nonsense. And we have to deal with these idiots. We have to deal with people who come out of this garbage as if we have to take them seriously. And the trouble is, people do take them seriously. So they can just basically, you know, let's be honest, that if they can say this, they can say anything. No evidence backs it up. Unless they've got some. I'm not going to say they don't have evidence. Let's see it. They're saying that the bulk of the murders, stroke rapes, are due to porn. So there must be evidence that all the murders this year, some must be related to porn. Some. You know, well, they're saying the bulk of them, so think the bulk would be about 80%. I mean, so, is that fair, folks? If they give us so every murder that's happened this year, 80% must be related to porn, folks. That's or what percentage? What percentage do you think it is, folks? I think it's 0%. I think it's utterly zero. I mean, the only one that's ever in history that I know of that has claimed to be due to porn was Ted Bundy. But that, if you remember, folks, if you watch the video, because I had this argument with an MP, I said, yeah, he was laughing when he was saying it because he was interviewed by this Christian right-winger who were basically putting the words in his mouth, and he was laughing. He was agreeing to anything just taking the mick out of this right-winger. And don't forget, folks, he also accused his uncle of causing him to murder and a few other things. So we can take him claiming it was porn as a pinch of salt, because, if you use Ted Bundy, if you watch all the interviews, he blames all sorts. And he plays people. I mean, he was a very, very clever guy. It was just bizarre. I mean, if you remember, folks, he was this clever that he went to, on his first murder trial, he taught himself law. And the judge actually, if you ever watch it, he cries because he says, you're that good. I mean, what a waste. Well, he didn't say exactly them words, but he's crying. And I think he does say he'd have taken him on under other circumstances. I mean, you can see that Ted Bundy would have been a genius if he hadn't killed. I mean, why he went murdering people, this is why no one ever knows. But was it due to porn? Nah. He's laughing. I mean, if you watch the interview with this right-wing Christian chap in America, he's laughing all the way through the interview. He's not taking it seriously as Bundy. So the chance of him telling the truth is zero. And I don't think there's any evidence even we're watching porn. I don't think police ever, I mean, I don't think there was any sort of porn around his house. And this is way before the internet and video and VHS and all this. So it's pretty unlikely that I mean, you remember in those days, porn mags were basically blurry, just women in bikinis, nothing really. I mean, you couldn't really call what porn was there to what porn is today. So I doubt if that was relevant. But anyway, I mean, I'm saying that because I think it's important to bring it up, because people do mention Ted Bundy, and it's only time. Anyway, that's it, folks. Ciao. Mainly because I've got to walk the dogs. Oh, I'm knackered as well. I've been up I've been dashing around. I've got a story to tell you guys, but I won't say it yet because it might take a few days, weeks, or even months to develop. But I think it'll be quite interesting to a lot of people. All right then, bye.